If you've ever felt stuck or uncertain, directionless, or you just need a little bit of reassurance, then this video is for you, my love. In today's video, I want to talk to you guys about what it truly means to surrender, what it truly means to lean on not your understanding, but lean on your faith instead. How to let go of that fear and surrender and walk your path with less uncertainty. There's going to be doubt, but to walk your path with just a little bit more confidence, just a little bit more faith, just being able to surrender just a little bit more, being able to hold on for just a little while longer and understand that you're not walking this path alone. It may seem like it on the earthly side of things, but when you think about it, you're never alone. Although the path that you're walking may seem difficult, you may feel like you don't know what you're doing, but that's because none of us know what we're doing. That's why we don't lean onto our own understanding. We lean on whoever we serve. So in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about what it means to truly let go of that fear and surrender, what it truly looks like to walk in faith and not by sight, what it truly means to walk your path and embrace your faith with full confidence, knowing that everything is just working out for you, even when you're not able to see it, even when it doesn't feel like it, even when you're in complete chaos. But we all know that on the other end of chaos is something beautiful. So if you are going through a chaotic time right now, just keep holding on, keep praying, keep surrendering. And I'm going to tell you exactly how you can do all of that in this video. So before we get too deep into it, I just want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking, commenting if you've ever commented or liked any of my videos. Thank you so much. And if you're new here, stay a while. Go ahead and subscribe so that you can continue to get all of this knowledge that I'm about to drop. You know, life is full of uncertainty. That's inevitable. We have no control over that. We have no control over how life goes. We do have free will though, but free will works only when you're trying to set goals, when you're having aspirations about the future, when you make plans per se for how you want things to go or what you even want. God wants you to set goals. He wants you to make plans. He wants you to have dreams and aspirations for the future. But how you get there is completely out of your control. We take this free will thing and we get an inch. It's like the free will is the inch that we get, and then we take a mile thinking that, oh, well, I got this. I can do this on my own, when really you cannot. How you get there, the journey that comes along the way, what you have to learn along the way, what you experience in this journey is completely up to who you serve. The quickest way to make God laugh is to tell him your plans. And we look crazy by saying, I'm going to do this way, this is going to happen this way. And then what if that doesn't happen? What if things don't go as we expected? What do we do when the waiting feels endless? When multiple doors get shut in our face? What do we do when our fear turns from a whisper into a scream? You lean into that blind trust. You lean into that faith. That's when you get to a point where you're like, okay, I see that this is completely out of my hands. So now I have to lean not into my own understanding, and I have to lean into this blind trust that we all just end up having to lean on at the end of the day. But in those moments when it feels like God ain't listening, your prayers are not being answered, you don't feel like anyone hears you, you feel like you're alone, you feel like all of this is for nothing. But trusting God is not always easy. But what if I told you that the very thing that you're struggling with right now is an opportunity? It's an opportunity for you to lean in. It's an opportunity for you to surrender. It's an opportunity for you to believe and to trust your divine plan, to know that everything is just simply working out for you because you're you, because you believe, because you trust that your prayers are being answered some way, somehow. It's like this. Sometimes there are things that have to happen. There are people who have to move. There are things that have to be done in order for your prayers to be answered. When we think about praying for a partner or praying for an opportunity, the opportunity has to be created first. Sometimes it's other people holding up the prayer line. It ain't that God don't hear you. It's just that these other people won't move. It's just that the partner that you're praying for still messing up, is still feeling directionless, still hadn't surrendered, still hadn't figured out like, okay, I have to lean out into my own understanding now. Sometimes that opportunity that you're praying for is someone who is fearful of what that looks like, what creating this opportunity for other people will look like. So now you're stuck in this purgatory because they haven't made a move. And I know it sucks. And sometimes I feel like when that does happen and a person never does make a move, God will move on and be like, okay, you're not doing what I asked you to do. You're not surrendering. You're not trusting. You don't get it. So let's move on to the next person who's been asking to create this opportunity, who is ready, who's been made, and who is ready to create this opportunity so that others can have an opportunity that they've been praying for. That's confirmation that somebody's dog out there barking. I must be speaking the truth, honey. What I realized is that you can't have faith without fear. That's the prerequisite for faith, is fear. You notice when things are going awful in your life, that's when you start to pray and you start to be like, okay, I need to make sure I'm trusting and I need to lean on faith right now because I'm completely uncertain. I have nothing else to go off of. That's when faith becomes the strongest, when you're fearful. Trusting doesn't mean that you're going to have an easy life. Actually, it gets worse. Okay, it gets harder when you lean into that blind trust. Right now, I'm in a season of leaning into blind trust, leaning into this unknown that God has for me. And although it's scary, it's very much so necessary. I was telling my cousin last night that sometimes you might mentally be there before you can physically be there. But when you're so mentally there, your physical is going to start feeling the effects of that and it's going to want to move. Your physical body, your soul is going to start desiring this change, this forward movement that you're not going to be able to say no to. And when that happens, you're going to have no choice. I mean, no choice but to trust, but to make this move. You're not going to have a choice but to let this door close, but to let this opportunity come into your life. Because it's what you've been praying for. It's what you've been asking for. And I think sometimes we think we know that we want these things, but it can physically be scary because you don't know what that's going to look like for you. If you leave this job, what does that look like? If you leave this partner, who are you going to run into? If you even run into anybody else. If you surrender this thought process, this addiction, this way of being, what does the new and improved version of you look like? It's scary. You don't know, but you've been praying for it because mentally you're there, but physically you haven't quite reached that level yet. It takes a long time for your physical reality to catch up with how you feel in your inner. reality, your inner world. Like I said, we take this free will thing to another level. You give somebody an inch, they take a mile. But we have to scale it back a little bit and understand that, yes, this is the only free will that I have, is to create, co-create. But I'm realizing that I'm not the only one that's creating. I'm co-creating. This is my part, and then this is God's part, the universe part, whatever. It's their part. You have to know your role in things, and we have to stop micromanaging the universe and stop micromanaging our journey. Because yes, I'm on the journey. That's my part. My part is to navigate the journey. My part is, when I feel uncertain, to go to my creator and ask for the next steps, to ask for guidance, to ask for reassurance that I'm on the right path, that I'm doing the right thing. But you get to a point where you don't even do nothing without asking your creator first. I know that I've gotten to that point. I don't just be jumping into things anymore thinking that this is what's meant for me, because sometimes it's not. And we quickly realize that. But, there's never anything wrong that you do. But there's always a lesson to learn if you do make the not wrong choice, but a choice that's not going to bring you closer to where you want to be. But all roads point to north, and I say that all the time. Even if you do make a decision and you get an unfavorable outcome, that outcome was needed for your growth. You're going to get to where you're supposed to be anyway. And I know I'm moving my hands a lot, but I'm just real passionate about this. You know what I'm saying? But you're going to get to where you're supposed to be no matter what. Because maybe there was a lesson that your soul was drawn to that is this outcome. You needed to learn something. Trusting sounds great. It sounds amazing until you have to wait. Until you're stuck in this waiting room for weeks, months, years even. But now is the opportunity to strengthen your trust in God by prayer, by surrendering your worries and casting your anxieties and all of the things that scare you onto God, because He can handle it. You can't. That's why you're scared. That's why you're in chaos. That's why you're depleted. That's why you feel anxiety, because you're continuously trying to control what you can't control. So leave that to God, because He knows exactly what to do with it. You don't. It's too much for you to bear. But when you are feeling that fear, you have to start remembering the past faithfulness. All of the times where God did show up and show out in your life. All the times where you prayed and God actually answered your prayers. I had an incident last week. I was just so overwhelmed. And that's why I didn't post a video last week. I was just feeling so overwhelmed because I'm tired of doing it alone. Or feeling like I have to do it alone. Because I quickly realized that I did not have to do it alone. That there are people in my life that love me. That there are people in my life that will listen to me and encourage me and uplift me. But because I'm so used to being so independent, hyper independent, that I forget that there are people who actually do love me. And I can actually call them and lean on them and trust them. And I was just sitting in my car praying and crying my eyes out, really. And I was asking God, just send someone that can help me, that will uplift me, because I'm tired of being the upliftment. I'm tired of being everything for everybody, but there's no one that's anything for me. And my mom, she's just a little sweetie pie, and she called me and she was just talking to me and talking me through and just uplifting me, just pouring into me in the way that I needed. And my sweet little niece sent me this video that I absolutely needed to hear. And it was before I even talked to them. Well, I had talked to my mom, but I hadn't talked to my niece about what I was feeling. And she sent me that video. And she was like, I just felt like you needed to hear it. I don't know. I just felt that on my heart. And it's so crazy because Those things happen almost instantly after I prayed. Now, some prayers will be instant, especially when God knows you need it right now. But then there are times where you will have to wait and you will have to lean on just blind trust. And sometimes some blessings take a little bit longer to complete. Like I said, there's other things that go into it. Like, you're not the only one that is asking for a blessing, that's asking for an opportunity, that's asking for a change. But I will say that it all starts with you. If you do know what kind of change it is that you want, make that change. Take action, take faith-based action, and not just sit here and think that things are just going to come to me just because I prayed for it. No, you have to get out there and actually make the mistakes, make the choices, learn the lessons, survive the outcomes. And then things will just continue to align for you. You just have to let go of the need for immediate answers. Sometimes you do need an immediate answer, and God understands that. That's why I got my immediate answer from my family. They immediately answered my prayers. God immediately answered my prayers through them. And a lot of times when we are praying and asking for whatever we're asking for, we have to understand that sometimes it's going to come in the form of what you didn't expect. You know, because for me, I was just feeling overwhelmed and I'm just like ready for partnership. And I understand that it's just not the time yet. I understand that now. And I understand that there are other people that I can lean on for the things that I need, the emotional support that I need. Now, I might have to still do things physically on my own, which is what I was really like feeling overwhelmed about. But emotionally, I have people in my corner to support me, and that makes me feel fulfilled. It's okay to struggle, but don't let that keep you stuck. Don't let that fear keep you stuck. You got to keep moving. You got to keep trusting. Practical steps that I use to build my faith is journaling, fasting, meditating, and praying. And understanding that, yes, because I jot the stuff down, yes, because I fasted and I prayed or whatever, it may not come as soon as I'm finished journaling. It may not come as soon as I'm finished fasting or meditating or praying. But I know blindly that it will come when the time is right. And also gratitude. Every day I get up and I thank God for waking me up, for my health, my strength, for everything, because this is all a gift. Every day I receive this gift of life to keep going. I receive the gift of voice, of storytelling. And every day my gratefulness and my faithfulness allows for me to be obedient. When I feel like I'm not worthy, when I feel like I'm undeserving, I thank God for his grace and compassion, because sometimes I'm not worthy. Sometimes I'm not deserving of the things that God gives me. But he knows my heart. And although I may make decisions and choose things that are not necessarily being 100% obedient, he knows my heart and he knows that I'm trying. And that's all that matters. You don't have to be perfect. The intention that you put behind things just have to be worth it. It's not about perfection. It's not about how you do things, how good you do things, but just knowing that you're not alone. So let's talk in the comments. What is it about your journey that's been the hardest? About trusting, about being faithful, about being obedient? What's been the hardest part of your journey? I really want to know. Talk to us in the comments and let us know what you've been up to. And if you need a little bit of extra reassurance today, take a deep breath with me. And I want you to say, God, I trust you. Even when I don't understand, even when it's hard, I trust you. I trust that everything is working out for my highest good. I trust that all of the obstacles in my life, I'm able to jump through them. I'm able to have you walk beside me in everything that I'm leaping throughout my life. All of the hardships, and not even just the hardships, all of the amazing things that you continue to do for me and for the people that I love. Okay? So, let's go and live like we actually believe all of that, okay? Because it's easy to say it. It's easy to listen to it, but it's hard to apply it to your life. So do the hard part, do the work that it takes to actually live like it and not just talk like it. You have to walk it like you talk. Walk it like you talk. Not just pretend like, oh, I know this. Yeah, you might know it, but are you applying it? How are you applying it to your life? If even. Okay, so take inventory on how you're applying things to your life or not. So whether you are walking it and talking it, you're just talking it right now. He knows if you know this in your heart and you're just still struggling with the worldly things that take you away from him. But he's never gonna leave you. You're never abandoned. All those times I always felt like I was abandoned, but I wasn't. I wasn't abandoned. I just didn't know how to lean on him. So lean on God today, this week. It's spring now. It's time to spring forward into these blessings that you have coming for you, because they're coming. And they may not come tomorrow or next week, but they will come. And you're going to come back to this video and I'm going to be like, I told you so. So, we're going to go ahead and end the video here. I pray that you guys received that message. If you did, leave me some comments on the hardest part of your journey and how you've been navigating through. It may be able to uplift someone, to encourage someone, to know that they're not alone. Because, like I said, God uses other people to speak to other people. So let God use you, and leave us a comment and like this video. And if you feel called to, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Let me help you and let you help someone else on this channel. And I pray that you guys have the most amazing week ever. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.